What's going on, Zasher? Coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. I am not alone. I'm joined by Skratch AK47. Skratch, it's been a minute, brother. How you doing?
Yo, what's up, Ash? Doing pretty good, man. It's been quite a while, right? Time is just flying.
It's been too long because I've actually collaborated with, I was telling you off air, I haven't collaborated with anybody in a while. It's way too long, so we're going to have the week of collabs here on Ash Raid Shadow Legends. Just a quick shout out to your channel. Everybody should go check out Skratch AK47. A lot of great content on a daily basis. Not much more to say other than go ahead and do it, guys. Today, we brought you on for your arena expertise. You're always at the top of the arena. But this is kind of be a video for everybody, right? So you're going to give us the top 5 legendaries, top 5 epics, and top 5 rares that we see right now inside what is kind of the arena meta. Obviously, this list is not going to include, you know, a lot of other champions who are popular because there's only 5 of each rarity. So these are, in your opinion, kind of just the top 5, like the 5 that you are your personal favorites. So without further ado, Skratch, want to go ahead and jump into it? Want to start with the rares?
Yeah, we're going to start with the rares. So guys, we kind of want to give you an idea of what are the best 5 champions regardless when you started the game. It doesn't matter if you're end game, early game, mid game, you just started the game a couple of days ago. We want to give you rares, epics, and legendaries just so you know on what champions to keep an eye on, right? So starting with the rares, we have this legendary champion in disguise, Apothecary, right? From the high elves.
No brainer.
He's amazing.
Right?
Absolutely. Like, he is amazing. If you get lucky enough to pull this champion early on, consider yourself extremely lucky because he has that increased speed, increased stir meter. He has an insane heal with the A2. And if you build him with some crit rate, he's going to be able to fully heal your champion regardless on how much HP he lost, because that heal can be critical. It's actually, if I'm not mistaken, the only champion heal that has this skill in the game, right? Yeah.
Yeah, people get confused by that. So it is based on, like, just to reiterate, it's based on the crit rate. So you want to actually build him with 100% crit rate if you want that heal to always be critical.
Yep, exactly, yeah.
I agree. Did you use Apothecary back in the day as, like, your first speed booster in the arena?
No, I didn't actually had him in the very first speed booster. I used what's his name, Gorgorap, for a very long time. That was like my main, but it took me a while to pull my first Apothecary, actually. So it took me quite a few months.
I pulled, I think, 3,000, I'm not joking, mystery shards to get my first Apothecary.
Did you?
So,
Oh, poor little guy.
Now, I do not feel at all qualified to discuss the philosophical implications of that.
I used him as my first speed booster. Who do you got next?
Next, we have Bellower, right? I feel like, my opinion, this is the most complete rare champion in the entire game. He just does so much, right? 3 AoE skills, so you can build him for damage, even as a campaign farmer and as an arena nuker. But even as a CC, right? You can throw a stun set, give him a bit of damage, a decent amount of accuracy if you can, and you're gonna have everything from him, right? You're gonna have block active skills on the A1, decrease speed, defense down, attack down from the other skill. Overall, he can deal damage, DC, and kind of be like an MVP, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. You could definitely use this champion. In terms of well-rounded rares in the game, it's hard to make a case that anybody's better than Bellower, and he can be kind of your debuffer if you know, until you get
Please don't.
A champion that we might be talking about in a minute. Who do you have next?
So next we have Marquez. It's kind of like more of a champion that probably you're not going to be ready day one to build her if you pull her, right? And to give her the right gear to do what she needs to do. But she is one of the hardest hitters champion in the entire game, right? She has that crazy skill that if she has a weaken on the enemy, right? She's gonna do extra damage, basically like another hit. And honestly, the damage is crazy.
It's insane.
Absolutely insane. The damage is like competing with legendaries, honestly.
Yeah,
she's so amazing.
Yeah, if you're looking for a rare nuker, she is the best of the best, right? It is in terms of sheer damage, but again, to your point, a little bit more difficult to build because you have to set her up with that weekend. So you need somebody else on the team because she doesn't have a 100% chance of landing it, but she still does a lot of damage. I guess you could just use her as a single hitter and just hope that the weak version of weekend lands, right?
Yeah, and kind of try to have a champion that gives her increased defense. That's kind of like the main problem.
Yeah, she's a defense-based nuker, guys, so increased defense obviously will get more damage out of her. Okay, so Marquez is number 3. Who do we have number 4 in the rares?
Then number 4, we have this amazing barbarian champion, everyone's favorite. I still wonder why. But
the naked
Maiden,
girl
right?
herself, there she is.
Exactly.
Yep.
So she's mainly for that decreased defense. It's much easier for you to deal damage on the enemy when you have a decreased defense, right? Kind of like perforating the armor, you could say, in different games. So if you have that decreased defense, you're going to be able to come in with the nuker and just destroy the enemy team after. So if you don't have increased attack, defense down is the best next thing that you can have on your team, you know. So it really depends what sort of champions you have available. But War Maiden for defense down, being a farmable champion, everyone can get her as soon as possible, you know.
Yep, that's what I have on the screen right now. For new players out there, you can actually farm her. So you just farm enough in the Dreadlands level in campaign. Eventually, you'll get your hands on War Maiden, and she's worth getting for pretty much everybody in the game, especially starting out. All right, our last rare Skratch, who we got?
In the last spot, I would put any of the starter champions, right? So depending on what champion you started with, but just for the sake of the video, let's go to the Sacred Order, Ash. Let's get this Aethel out, because I feel like a lot of people are kind of like dropping her out. One thing to keep in mind, because considering you started early on and all this, you might not have enough champions to have increased attack, defense down, increased speed, increased thermeter. You know, I have a speed lead. It's getting pretty hard to get the right champions early on. So the good thing about her is that she has increased attack, gains the extra turn, and she gets to nuke with the A2 and obliterate the enemy team, you know. So that's one thing that I like about her. In terms of multipliers and attack, most of the rare champions, the starters, they kind of have the same power, I would say, you know.
I love that you pointed out Aethel. And I think that I agree with you. I still think I would go Kayle if I just, you know, I would go Aethel just to do something a little bit different, right? And I'd probably still go Kayle because of the poisons and like the clan boss versatility. But people really underrate, like while we're talking about her A1, like a triple hitter that has decent multipliers, good for Giant Slayer, and the big version of Weaken. It's a really, really solid A1 here compared to the other, you know, starting champions. I agree. I love that you called out Aethel as the, you know, the starter du jour today. So, okay, those are our 5 rares. Marquez, Aethel, Bellower, Apothecary, and War Maiden. Who are our 5 epics?
So I'm going to go actually with the first epic I pulled on my free-to-play account, Skull Crown. Imagine how lucky I got.
Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations. So Skull Crown, she is the queen, the OG queen of Arena for epics.
She is. Actually, if I stay to think about it, back in the day, 3 years ago, she used to be the #1 Arena champion in terms of epics. The main idea with her, she has the speed lead for Arena, right? 23% is pretty big, pretty hard to beat and for epic champions. AoE on the A1, places an extra hit if the target has more than 50% HP. Being Void Affinity, if you're not obliterating them with the first hit with the second AoE, you come in with the A1 and you clean up, you know. So the second hit attacks all enemies again and has a chance to land Weaken, which is damn very powerful as well. And the passive, which is beautiful, right? Because it's gonna keep her alive, places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn every time their HP drops below 20%, you know. If you pair her with her sister, she can revive, but that's something a bit more extravagant.
Yeah, I think that everybody who has her probably used her at one point, at least in the arena. And if you didn't use her, she's annoyed you in the arena with the resilient passive, right? The unkillable. I really love that, especially if you don't win the speed battle, you know, Skratch, like she can still stay alive, and you can actually pull out some sneaky victories with her at 1 HP, right? Because of the passive there. And you mentioned her sister Sinesha, but she also has the AoE on the A1, and they're kind of used in tandem on blender comps. So they actually have like kind of a meta, I guess, team all around like these two champions in a lot of cases. So good call out there. Who do we have for number 2?
So number 2, since we're on this faction, I want to talk about Rector Dread. It's one of the best epic revivers for Arena, and mainly because of all her kit all around, you know. So she has a very powerful heal. She has the perfect veil for the entire team, which has a lot of damage reduction. And then we have the single revive on an ally with 60% HP and fills the thermeter by 60 and places a perfect veil on them for 3 turns. So a lot of good is coming from this champion, you know. And then whenever an ally under a veil or perfect veil buff gets a turn, heals them by 10% of their max HP and increases their resistance while they're under a veil. So this makes her a very solid champion. A lot of you guys will be using mainly a magic nuker, you know. So how we mentioned the previous rare champions as an idea, what nukers we have. Most of them, they were magic. So I feel like magic kind of dominates the game, the magic affinity. So having Force Affinity gives you a bit of an extra advantage when we're talking about support champions.
Totally agree with you. Retro Droth, she's just tough to kill. You know, she's just tough to kill. So
she's can be pretty annoying.
How am I at fault for that, and how is that a bad thing? I still don't understand.
And she's really fast too, 109 base speed. You love to see that as well. What kind of teams do we most often see Retro Droth on, Skratch?
I'm gonna put in a kind of like a bit of everything. So Rector that goes pretty good with Vogot, goes pretty good with Godseeker and Iri. If you have a Mountain King, a Candraphone, they pair very, very nice actually because of that Veil. So I feel like these are kind of like the main teams that you can have with her, you know?
Okay, so like a tanky, go second team. Yep.
Yeah, mainly like that, I would say, yeah. If you want to use her like offense-wise, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Who's our number 3 epic?
Number 3, let's bring in Anuka, right? Let's bring in her nemesis, because we talked about how powerful she is, but of course everybody kind of has like a... We're gonna talk about Magnar.
I already have him up.
That was awesome.
He is a beast of a champion too. The best HP nuker in the entire game. A lot of people, they come and say, no, Verself is the best because he has slightly higher multipliers. But that is conditional, you know, you need to have provoke, stun or something on all the enemy team. And let's be real, how often you're gonna have that all the time to make sure Verself is gonna get a double hit? Not that often, but with Magnar, you're just gonna get it straight off the back. And honestly, he doesn't get affected by decreased attack, by decreased defense. He has a very good survivability for go second teams, and he destroys with every skill. Like, honestly, very powerful epic champion.
Yeah, and he hits, like, you know, after if he doesn't kill everybody on the first hit, he can come back in. That A3 hits hard too. So, and like you said, a lot of good, like his stats are really solid across the board. I love Magnar, man. I couldn't agree more. All right,
absolutely.
Who do we have number 4?
Number 4, I mean, she's kind of like the queen. She's kind of like the witch, you know?
Rep the set. Gotta rep the set.
That's it.
You see her during Halloween. She comes sneaking at your window. Madame series, right?
We love her. Yeah.
She is one of a kind, I gotta say it.
Yeah.
Not many legendaries in the game can actually compete with Madame series. Decreased defense, decreased attack, strips all buffs on all and from all enemies, and the debuffs are for 2 turns. On a 4-turn cooldown, an extremely powerful skill. The A2 has a chance to steal a random buff while we get immunity on our team, and we have a chance to land through fear. Then we can place fear with the A1, and we place the shield with a passive every time we take a turn, which when she gets attacked, she has a chance to land the fear again. So she's definitely very solid.
I love Madame. I think she's my number 1 epic for the arena. You know, I still use her because, like you said, nobody has an ability like Midnight Ritual, you know? And even after the Midnight Ritual, she still presents so much value. She's still stealing buffs, dropping CC with True Fear, block debuffs. She got the self-shield. Like, she is incredible. She is, like, we say this all the time, like, she's a legendary champion, but she really should be a legendary champion. Like, she's that good.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm well surprised that they never made her legendary.
Yeah, like, and remember when they tried to nerf her, and they're just like, we're gonna change that A3 to from a 5 to a 6 turn. It's like, yeah, it didn't like change anything about the way that, you know, she's best in the game, right? Which is, I'm not complaining about it, but I'm glad they didn't do anything else to her. Anyway, who's number 5?
So I think number 5 we have Vogot left from that's what I was like for a second. I think we're done.
We did mention his name, but we haven't, totally covered
it. Exactly. That's what got me. So basically,
Vogot's a beast.
He has this amazing passive that if you're going to use him for go second teams, absolutely amazing to sustain your team. Use him in defense, very annoying for people that they don't know how to deal with him. AoE attacks are kind of like, give me more because I like them, you know? I'm gonna heal the team so they're all gonna stay alive. Yeah. Vogot is one of a kind as well with these passives. I would say his A2 is good because we have AoE, provoke, right? And A1 pretty good as well with triple hit. Great for PvE as well, not only for PvP, but overall I feel like he's a very, very solid champion for arena offense and defense wise, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So you think in terms of, before we get to the legendaries, if you're going to assemble the best defensive team on like a go second team, right, in the arena, are you including Vogoth on your team? Like, without being it all void legendaries, you know, without it being like a Hajimon Warlord team, is your best bet right now in the meta to go something like Vogoth, like a high resist Vogoth team, or just like a super tanky Vogoth team?
Just tanky. Like, honestly, I would just give him tons of HP.
Tons of HP, and then throw in like a Skull Crown with an Unkillable or something on the team, and then a Reviver or something?
Yeah, you can use a Reviver, or if you really want to have like different champions, you can use like tanky champions like Magnar. If he's not enough to keep your team alive, you can run a different champion next to him, like Sunless Survivor. You know, she's gonna mitigate a lot of damage as well, and he's gonna get to heal a bit back while she withdraws some of the rest of the damage. So you have quite a few different options with this, you know.
Absolutely. I think I use Vogoth on one of my... I thought I used him in my regular tag team arena team. Let me see.
Help us, please.
I'm just messing around with him right now, so forget it. Ignore everything I just showed, guys. Legendary time, Skratch. Well, everybody's been waiting for. Who we got, dude?
Man, so since
this is tough. This is tough, first of all, right?
This is very tough, guys. There are a lot of strong legendary champions, and I'm gonna have to pick the 5 most used champions in the very top arena. You know, you could argue that some of them are very equal. Like I see a lot of them equal, you know. But I'm gonna do my best to give 5, even though I'm probably gonna talk about a 6th champion because I can't help it. But I'm gonna start with Siphi. I'm not saying she's the #1 champion, you know, because in my eyes, I need them all. That's kind of how it goes.
If we were only that lucky, Skratch.
I know, yeah. The problem is that there's so many strong Void legendaries and not so many non-Void strong legendaries, if you know what I mean. There are a few that are non-Void, but the very top ones are Void, unfortunately, you know.
Yeah, especially in the arena. I've noticed that, you know, because there's a lot of strong non-Voids in PvE content, right? But in terms of the arena, it does feel like most of the strongest are Void. So why is Siphi your pick for, you know, buffer Reviver?
So Siphi has a very good aura as well, increase the resistance by 80. And then we have the A2, right? You have block debuffs, you have increased defense, you have increased speed, and you have booster meter, right? So all those 4 things in a skill are absolutely
indeed
insane.
A lot of people forget about the turn meter boost too. It's only 10%, but that's on top of 3 of the strongest buffs you can get in the arena.
They are the 3 strongest, literally.
Yeah.
And then you have the revive with increased attack, crit rate, and full turn meter, you know, 55% HP, which is very important for a Rotos, for example, because his passive can come in play then, you know.
Yep, absolutely. And you get these annoying, irresistible sleeps on the A1, you know, while you're cycling between your other OP abilities. And she's one of the fastest champions in the game, so I can't disagree with you there. Who's #2?
So let's switch a bit the factions. Let's move over to another Reviver. And going at Demon Spawns, Duchess Lilith, right? Like,
yep.
There's
a non-Void for you.
She's a non-Void, yeah. My opinion, she's the best Reviver in the game. So she is just so damn powerful. Like, tons of damage mitigation from the passive, speed aura for arena, revives all dead allies on a 4-turn cooldown with 70% HP, and Veil, and continuous heal, right? And then you have block debuffs, increased attack, and perfect Veil from the A3 on a 4-turn cooldown. Another thing that's so powerful to have, right? So offense-wise, defense-wise, she's just an amazing champion to have. The A1, I hate it on PvE, but it's amazing on PvP, you know. That shield just going randomly on champions is so annoying on PvP, on PvE, on Hydra, for example, but for arena is actually great.
I agree. And she has the incredible passive of decrease AoE attacks by 25%, which is basically like a built-in strengthened passive all the time, which is unbelievable, you know?
And if you give her a Veil, even more damage reduction.
Yeah, you get another 15% on top of that with a perfect Veil. So there's a lot of built-in damage mitigation between the Veil and the passive that I think sometimes people, especially like newer players, overlook. You're talking about 40% less damage when they're under perfect Veil and that passive from Duchess. So really...
It's tons of damage, yeah. That's why you need to have the right champions to deal with her.
Absolutely. Okay, so those are good choices. I can't argue either of them. Who do you have? I'm just curious. I don't think she's on your list, but do you put like Wither the Crowned? Is she used a lot right now still? Is she still like one of the top tier like platinum champions?
Wither and Mitrala, they're used quite a lot. I'm using Wither every reset, actually.
Awesome. Okay. So who do you have for #3?
So I just want to give a shout out since we're still here on the faction. I don't have him in my top 5, but I definitely feel like he belongs in the top 5 at the same time. It's pretty hard how I mentioned, but Kaimar is an amazing champion.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I'm sick of the drama. Like, I really am.
Offense-wise, I use him pretty much non-stop. And defense-wise, he can play a very strong role. But mainly, he's amazing in offense. You know, he has the speed aura, 3 buffs, and sleep. That's kind of like the main thing. On top of decreasing all your cooldowns in a single move like that, you know?
Yeah. I don't know who you have, the other champions, but I love that you at least called them out, because I can't, like, Prince Kyle, he's like one of my faves, man. Like, he was the second legendary I ever pulled, and I still use him, obviously, to this day. I love Kymar in the arena, so good call out there. You know who else I'm using too, as we're just honorable mentioning people? He certainly wouldn't be in my top 5 or even top 10, but Mortu Macabre, I've started using, and he's actually really fun with the peril and just being a tanky kind of go second team, you know?
He's pretty fun, actually, yeah.
And it is weird though, like, dude, I'm not imagining this, right? That peril always procs against me in Doom Tower, and it takes forever to proc. And like when I'm using him, like, what's up with that, man? Like, they've got to have a different, it's got to be more than 20% when they do it, right?
I think I made a video on him yesterday or the day before. But basically, I said it the same way. When I'm using him in offense, man, it takes forever for that to proc. But when I'm having one against me in the enemy defense, he uses the parry like it's the A1 all the time.
I know. I'm like, what the heck, dude? Anyway, I swear this one, I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all, but I swear there's something about going against him. It's got to be something different there. Anyway, who do we have next? Who do we have next?
Next is no one else but Warlord from the Horde faction, another Void legendary. Now, he is just so damn powerful. Honestly, since they brought in the presets, Warlord is probably the most powerful defense champion. I mean, definitely the most powerful. He can be so annoying. So many people avoid teams with Warlords because they don't really have many ways to deal with him, you know? But he has the A3, attacks all enemies, 70% chance to put each target skill on cooldown, and that's not booked. Fully booked is 100% chance. And then he has a chance to fully deplete each target's star meter. Then we have the heal, we have block debuff, sorry, and we have a shield from his A2. And the A1 increases the duration of all debuffs on the target. We have the resistance aura for all battles, very good base stats. But that A3 is what scares people, terrifies people actually. You know?
Yeah, and immunity gear, any gear, any block debuffs is not going to matter against this ability. What type of team do you most see Warlord used on, especially on offense? Like, is he like a go second after an Arbiter type thing? Is he on mostly speed teams? Talk to me a little bit about like what are the most popular configurations around him.
Mainly speed teams. So if I would use him in offense, I have kind of like 2-3 different varieties of teams. So I'm using him on immunity with Arbiter, Molly, and a Nuker, right? Tranda as an example. So like then I'm going
like double CC.
Yeah, I'm going against Hajimon teams like that. I'm locking them, provoking them if needed, depending on what teams I have. Molly, maybe the main idea is to boost the thermometer when Hajimon hits me with the A1, you know?
Oh, okay. That's really like cool. Maybe I'll try to build that team. That's actually really interesting. Because I was like, why are you using Molly with a provoke when you have Warlord? But it makes sense with the passive. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
It's the passive mainly.
Cool.
Then I use him with Ramantu, Sifi, and what's his name? Solus. A lot of times like that too. So I have no speed lead. I'm going with the accuracy aura from Ramantu. Or other times I'm using him with Kymar, Sifi, and Solus, you know, depending on what teams I'm attacking. Now we have stone skin everywhere, right? So the best way to deal with it is either have some bombs, either use this bad boy. And I have my favorite kind of like creme de la creme team, using him with Lady Kimi, Lord Shazar, and the Necret. That's kind of like my number one go team in arena offense.
I really like that team. Very cool stuff. Okay, let's get back to the list here. After Warlord, who is next?
So we're gonna go in and talk about Necret. Again, another undead, another void.
Another void.
I thought that we were fine.
A one-of-a-kind champion having these beautiful passives. So places a block debuffs, strengthen on the ally with the lowest HP at the start of each round. Basically, you can go in with a Savage Nuker and give him immunity with Necret, right? So that will allow you to do that. We have ally attack. And then when he gets damaged, the ally that has the ally attack from him gets a shield, okay? That shield can keep alive a champion that's not leveled up, okay? a level or a 3-star champion that's not leveled up can withdraw damage from a crazy nuker. That's how powerful Necret is for defense. He has the resistance aura as well, the ally attack, how I mentioned, the decrease attack. Basically, a lot of people build him now on Stone Skin, slow, you know, so like that he gets to protect the enemy team, tons of reaction. Or another nice way to build him is the protection set. I think that's how it's called, from the Hydra as well. I literally just got a brain fart and I forgot the name of the set.
Yep.
But you're putting it on your nuker, for example, and if you're going in with the Kaimar to strip the buffs, and if he has immunity from Necret that cannot be removed because of the set, it's game over. You know?
Okay, really interesting. I might rebuild my Necret for that sort of team. That's really cool. I agree with you. The Necret is like, he's like a god champion, man. Like, he's so cool. You know, I give Plarium a lot of credit for the type of champions they've been releasing, you know, especially the legendaries. Like, they're finding a way with a game with 1,000 champions or whatever the heck there is to really still make them compelling, at least a lot of them. Not all of them, but, you know, but a lot of them. So Necret was definitely one of those examples. Yeah. Okay, so we have one more, right? Or is there two more?
One more.
Okay.
So talking about compelling champions, I'm just gonna give a quick shout out to Yumeko as well, right? I haven't put her in top 5 because I still find Warlord more powerful because of that thermometer decrease and the heal and all that we get from the A2. But she's a very solid champion as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. Very creative the way they've done it. She's one of the newest additions in terms of strong champions.
Absolutely.
The last,
okay, who's our last?
The last one, it might be our nemesis, Hajimon.
Of course. There he is.
Even though he is one of a kind, there is no other champion in the game like him, with the passive that grants him the first turn as soon as possible, regardless what champions that in the team. He always goes first, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of like that bad boy. But mainly he forces all the opponents to come in with immunity or to come in with thick shields if you build him for damage. So a lot of people are staying away from Hajimons because not many people have the right champions to deal with him. Not many people that have cleansers available, or not many people that are aware that he's not as powerful as he is, right? We do have decreased attack and block active skills from his A2. You can build him on Savage, you can build him on Stun, you can build him on Provoke. He can play many different roles, but the main idea is he's just there to be that annoying champion that can force you to bring immunity or something else in your team, you know. Kind of like messes up your plan.
Yeah, totally agree with you, man. Like, I cannot argue with any 5 of those champions. I also would just throw an honorable mention out with the Arbiter, because obviously I think that she's clearly the most used speed booster inside the entire arena. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to, you know, it's hard to not give her the mention on the list as well. And I think that pretty much concludes the video. That's Skratch AK47's top 5 rares, epics, and legendaries. We're about to go do a collab on Skratch's channel right now, so I invite you to go ahead and continue this video over on his channel. Skratch, thanks for joining me, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, a pleasure. Peace.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.